Dr. Wang swallowed hard, his voice trembling as he spoke. Lady Ning did indeed suffer external impact, but what truly caused her miscarriage was the abortion medicine she consumed half an hour ago. Adrian's eyes narrowed slightly, just as Luna had predicted, word for word. His voice turned cold as ice. "Tell me, who ordered you to lie and frame Celeste?" Dr. Wang slowly raised his hand, pointing in Adrian's direction with a trembling finger. "It was Lady Sophia. Lady Sophia commanded me to do this." Lady Ning's pregnancy was already too weak to be saved. When Lady Sophia learned of this, she devised this plan. She instructed me to deliver the abortion medicine to Lady Ning, and she ordered me to conceal the true cause of the miscarriage when I met with your Majesty, placing all blame on Lady Celeste instead. Seeing her scheme exposed, Sophia immediately fell to her knees, pleading for mercy. "Your Majesty, please see clearly. This matter has nothing to do with me. I have served your Majesty for over 10 years. Surely you know my character. How could I possibly do such a thing?" Luna, sitting close to Celeste, curled her little lips in disdain upon hearing this. "Feiha, as if you've never done anything like this before. You've committed so many wicked deeds. First poisoning Felix, then targeting me and Mother in the harem. How despicable. Perhaps I'll be next on your list." Asterisk. What? Sophia had poisoned Felix too. Celeste felt dizzy from this shocking revelation. Had she stumbled upon some terrible secret? Meanwhile, Adrian felt his head throb with fury. First Felix, then Luna. Was Sophia planning to eliminate all his children? This was absolutely unforgivable. Adrian took a deep breath. Of course, he knew that Duke Kane hadn't been dealt with yet, so he couldn't punish Sophia too severely for now. But he couldn't swallow this insult. Adrian's gaze swept the assembled crowd. His voice arctic. "Lady Sophia has conspired against fellow consorts. I hereby strip her of all authority over the 6 palaces and confine her to tranquil pavilion. Without my express permission, she shall not step 1 foot outside." Sophia's entire body went rigid. Since entering the palace, she had never received such severe punishment. Tears streamed down her face as she opened her mouth to protest. But Adrian's sharp rebuke cut her off. "Remove Lady Sophia at once." Several eunuchs immediately bowed and dragged the wailing Sophia away. After dealing with Sophia, Adrian turned his attention to Lady Ning, who was trembling on the bed. Lady Ning is demoted to attendant and confined to her quarters. She is forbidden to leave. Lady Ning bit her blanket, tears flowing uncontrollably. She should never have trusted Sophia. Never have tried to frame Celeste. Fey hooray! Father can distinguish right from wrong after all. Hemph. Anyone who bullies Mother must face consequences. But Sophia's punishment seems too light. If Father hadn't seen through this, who knows how terrible things might have become. Asterisk. Hearing Luna's thoughts, Celeste couldn't help but squeeze her daughter's small hand. Her precious Luna truly loved her. Adrian's gaze also fell upon Luna. This morning, he hadn't gone to fetch her at the usual hour as he had the previous days, thinking that after yesterday's tiring outing, she deserved to sleep in. When he finally arrived at Crystal Palace around mid-morning, neither Luna nor Celeste were there. Only then did he learn they had gone to the Imperial Garden. Looking at Luna's still somewhat displeased expression, Adrian found himself amused. After a moment's consideration, he spoke solemnly. "Celeste has always been gentle and virtuous. I hereby grant her authority over the 6 palaces until the Empress returns and the Empress Dowager comes back from Mount Spirit. All palace affairs shall be managed by Celeste. Today Celeste was wronged. I bestow upon her 10,000 taels of gold and 1,000 bolts of silk." At the mention of gold, Luna's eyes lit up instantly. Gold is wonderful, so bright and shiny. Mother has never had much money or jewelry, but from now on she'll be wealthy. Father is quite decent after all. The quite decent Adrian couldn't help but smile upon hearing her thoughts. He wanted to embrace Luna and play with her, but just then Eunuch Chen approached and whispered urgent news in his ear. Reluctantly abandoning his plans to spend time with Luna, Adrian walked over and gently pinched her little cheek before hurrying off to the royal study. After the emperor's departure, the other consorts immediately performed deep bows to Celeste. "Congratulations, Sister Celeste." Even the most obtuse person could now see clearly. The emperor deeply favored both the fifth princess and Celeste. Anyone who opposed them would be opposing the emperor himself. Celeste's face bore an appropriately gentle smile. "There is no need for such formality, sisters. We all serve in the same palace, and should naturally support one another. As long as no one seeks trouble with me, I am not one to meddle in others' affairs." Faye Mother is so clever. First the sweet words, then the warning, showing both kindness and authority. Mother is brilliant. I love Mother so much. Celeste's grip on Luna's hand tightened slightly. Her Luna truly understood her. The other consorts quickly nodded and voiced their agreement. They had all understood Celeste's message perfectly. She wouldn't pursue today's incident further, but she expected no future provocations. If anyone dared to cross her, she wouldn't be so easily bullied. The consorts felt cold sweat on their backs. Thank goodness they hadn't supported Sophia's scheme against Celeste today, or Celeste might not have been so forgiving. Who would have thought that the usually reclusive and quiet Celeste possessed such political acumen, satisfied with their reactions? Celeste nodded approvingly. After some casual conversation, she led Luna back to Crystal Palace. Their palanquin had barely stopped at the palace gates when Nina rushed out to greet them. "My lady, I was terrified when I heard that Lady Sophia and Lady Ning conspired against you today. Fortunately, His Majesty saw through their deception." Celeste smiled softly. "As you can see, I am perfectly fine." She had chosen not to bring palace maids, thinking it was just a flower, viewing excursion, so she'd left Nina to manage household affairs. "She never expected such drama to unfold," Nina said earnestly. "In the future, please allow me to accompany you more often, my lady." "Oh, and the second young master sent some items from outside the palace today." Celeste's eyebrows rose slightly. "What items?" This was the first time her younger brother, the Liu family, maintained strict discipline, and her father, fearing accusations of improper contact between the previous dynasty and the current court, usually limited communication to monthly letters. The three entered the hall, and Nina quickly presented the box received that day. Inside were 500 taels of silver pieces, Nina explained. "The second young master said this money is for Princess Luna." Celeste's brow furrowed. For Luna? Why would her brother think to give Luna silver? But Luna immediately became excited. Abba, Faye wonderful. Uncle is so kind. I love Uncle." Anyone Celeste couldn't help but laugh at Luna's reaction. "Since Uncle gave it to you, you can keep it." Luna accepted the silver happily, placing it with the pearls Felix had sent her earlier. She hugged the box tightly, radiating pure bliss. "Faye life's hardships can't touch those with money. I love money, and money loves me. May wealth come from all directions." Celeste shook her head helplessly. "Little money lover." "My lady, Dr. Shu has arrived," Nina reported. "Show him in, soon." Dr. Shu entered carrying his medicine case and knelt in greeting. Celeste spoke calmly. No need for excessive ceremony. Please examine the princess. It has been 3 or 4 days, but her throat still hasn't healed. Dr. Shu nodded and placed his fingers on Luna's small wrist, his brow furrowing deeply. Seeing his hesitation, Celeste prompted. Dr. Shu, please speak frankly. Is there something wrong with Luna's condition? Dr. Shu shook his head, his voice steady and confident. Your ladyship, according to her pulse, the little princess's cold has completely healed, and I detect no toxins in her system. He then knelt and bowed deeply. Please forgive my inadequacy. I truly cannot determine why the 5th princess cannot speak. Celeste's brow creased with worry. Though she could hear Luna's thoughts, Luna couldn't remain unable to speak forever. Celeste waved dismissively. Rise, Dr. Shu, I don't blame you. You may withdraw. Luna nestled in Celeste's arms, blinking thoughtfully. Faithful Dr. Shu's medical skills are rather ordinary, but I remember there is a female physician in the Great Moon Kingdom who could truly cure any ailment. Celeste's ears perked up immediately, but then she heard, but I've forgotten her name. Celeste sighed, her expression clouded with worry. Seeing this, Luna immediately reached out to pat Celeste's cheek. Abba, Abba. Mother, don't be sad. The Great Moon Kingdom has many talented people. Someone will surely be able to cure me. Don't worry. Everything will be fine. Celeste nodded, her eyes slightly red as she embraced Luna. Her precious Luna, meanwhile, in the royal study. Father, these are the evidence of Duke Kane's grain embezzlement that Lo Fei Yuan confessed to. Adrian reviewed the reports, frowning. Is this all? Felix nodded. This is all Lo Fei Yuan revealed. Duke Kane probably felt his son was too incompetent and didn't share everything with him. But this evidence alone isn't enough to condemn Duke Kane. His military achievements are too distinguished. Without concrete proof of his treasonous intentions, the ministers would certainly object. Adrian frowned. You speak truly. The royal study fell silent as both men pondered their next move. Suddenly, a childish voice echoed in Adrian's mind. Duke Kane is so obsessed with becoming emperor that he has had 7 or 8 dragon robes made at home. Adrian's lips curved upward as he looked up. I'll assign you some shadow guards. Help me find something. Felix looked puzzled. What does father wish to find? Dragon robes. The next day, Luna slowly opened her eyes after a good night's sleep, finding herself already in the royal study. Why did father bring me to the royal study again? I miss mother, my sweet, soft, beautiful mother. I don't want to be here. As Luna complained internally. A plate of fragrant pastries was placed before her. She immediately fell silent and began devouring them enthusiastically. Delicious. Adrian thought to himself, what a swift change of heart. He couldn't help but chuckle softly. Luna was truly adorable. Luna, while munching on pastries, noticed many memorial scrolls spread before her. All had been reviewed but not yet closed, lying open in front of her. Curious, she began reading. They were mostly correspondence between ministers and Adrian. Your Majesty, are you well? Adrian's note. Say such nonsense again, and I'll make sure you are not well. Your Majesty, a woman in eastern Zhejiang performed an act of heroism. Adrian's note. Are you that idol? Your Majesty, may I return to the capital for the Empress Dowager's birthday celebration? Adrian's note. Mission denied. Luna read through them and fell silent. Ah, the plain and simple life of an emperor. Though it did seem quite typical, Adrian had been a wise ruler in the early period. Apart from Duke Kane's treasonous schemes, everything else remained relatively stable. Without the rebellion 2 years hence, the Great Moon Kingdom might have continued peacefully. Grand Tutor Feng wishes to retire to his homeland, Adrian read aloud from a memorial, frowning and sighing softly. Grand Tutor Feng is truly a veteran minister. He taught me my calligraphy. A childish voice exploded in his mind. Fei Grand Tutor Feng, father. You can't let him leave. Luna tugged on Adrian's sleeve. Abba, Abba. She pointed at the memorial. Adrian, having heard Luna's thoughts, naturally understood her meaning but pretended ignorance to tease her. Does Luna want to see this memorial too? Luna shook her head, continuing to point at the memorial. Abba, Abba. Fei don't want to see the memorial. I don't want Grand Tutor Feng to leave. Luna's face reddened with urgency. Seeing her distress, Adrian's heart softened immediately. Following her thoughts, he said, Luna doesn't want Grand Tutor Feng to leave. Luna nodded emphatically. Fei, father finally understands. I almost thought he'd become an idiot. Adrian. He would never tease Luna again. If she truly thought him an idiot. Luna suddenly remembered everything. Fei Grand Tutor Feng isn't important. His granddaughter is. His granddaughter, Feng Aishi, is a true miracle doctor who can cure any illness. If I could meet her, she could definitely heal my throat. Adrian immediately perked up. Someone who could cure Luna's throat? That would be wonderful. He must summon her to the palace. But how could Grand Tutor Feng's granddaughter be a doctor? He'd never heard of this before. Luna swung her little feet, recalling the original story. Fei Grand Tutor Feng's wife came from a family of physicians. Despite her medical expertise, she was confined to the inner chambers. She passed all her knowledge to her granddaughter. Feng Aixi's medical skills are exceptional. She has always helped other young ladies with their ailments. She is kind-hearted and highly skilled. Fen, the original story. The male lead Xiaozian was shot by a poisoned arrow during battle, and was near death. Feng Aixi saved him. At that time she was already married with children, and was on an outing with her husband. When they encountered Xiaozian, she saved his life and was later granted the title of first rank lady. Adrian nodded. It seemed this Feng Aixi indeed possessed excellent medical skills. He could summon her to the palace to treat Luna. At the same time, Adrian didn't miss Luna's mention of the original story. Everything Luna knew seemed to come from this original story. Luna was a gift from heaven. A divine maiden descended to earth. So this original story was actually the celestial text. Adrian had an epiphany, of course. Luna continued tugging at Adrian's sleeve, mouthing words. Father, I want to meet Grand Tutor Feng's granddaughter. Adrian pretended to read her lips slowly. Luna wants to meet Grand Tutor Feng's granddaughter. Luna nodded vigorously. Fei father is so smart, he can even read lips. Adrian smiled awkwardly. Fortunately, he could hear Luna's thoughts, or lip reading alone wouldn't have helped him understand her. Eunuch Chen. Go to Grand Tutor Feng's residence with my decree. Summon his granddaughter to the palace tomorrow to meet with Celeste. Eunuch Chen immediately bowed. Your servant obeys. Luna breathed a sigh of relief. Her throat could be saved. Adrian began processing state affairs with peace of mind. After finishing her pastries and drinking a large cup of milk tea, Luna leaned back in the dragon chair and let out a small burp. Hearing the soft sound, Adrian chuckled quietly and turned to look at her. Is Luna tired? Shall father take you to the Imperial Garden for a walk? Luna nodded immediately. Hi, yes, let's go out. I've been sitting here for nearly 2 hours and my bottom hurts. Adrian had been reviewing memorials for some time and was also tired, so he led Luna toward the Imperial Garden. Luna toddled along the cobblestone path in the Imperial Garden, swaying slightly. Femph, it is all father's fault for carrying me everywhere and not letting me walk. That is why I am 3 years old but still so unsteady on my feet. Adrian thought. Your mother carries you around all the time too, but I don't see you blaming her. Why single him out? Despite thinking this, Adrian still followed closely. They walked one behind the other, followed by many servants and palace maids. Suddenly, a cold glint flashed. A palace maid drew a dagger from her sleeve and thrust it straight at Adrian. Everyone erupted into chaos. Eunuch Chen shouted desperately, "Protect His Majesty! Protect His Majesty!" Adrian immediately dodged to the side. The maid, assassin, pressed her attack. But just then, a guard leaped forward, his sword dancing, and swiftly subdued and pinned the assassin to the ground. The Imperial Guards immediately arrived and restrained the assassin. Adrian scooped up Luna, speaking gently. "Luna, are you all right?" Luna blinked and slowly shook her head. "Faye, that was really dangerous. Thank goodness father is safe." This maid was quite bold to attempt assassination in broad daylight. Only then did Adrian relax. He walked over to the guard and praised him. "Your reflexes were excellent. You are a rare talent. What is your name?" The guard looked up, revealing a refined and handsome face. "Your Majesty, I am Ma Jingxin." Luna's ears pricked up. Why did that name sound so familiar? Adrian examined Ma Jingxin approvingly. "Your martial skills are exceptional. Patrolling the palace in the Imperial Guard seems beneath your talents. Perhaps, Fano father. This Ma Jingxin works for Duke Kane. Adrian? What? How could he be Duke Kane's man? Luna huffed indignantly. Fei Duke Kane is truly cunning. His power isn't yet strong enough for rebellion, so he is placing people around you first. In the original story, when Duke Kane raised his army, this Ma Jingxin collaborated from within and nearly killed father. Though father survived, his health deteriorated, and his temper grew increasingly volatile. He eventually became a tyrant who would eliminate entire family lines at the slightest provocation, and the Great Moon Kingdom gradually declined. Adrian felt a chill run down his spine, cold sweat beating on his back. Thank goodness Luna had warned him, or he would have kept a wolf by his side. At least it wasn't too late now. Luna clutched Adrian's robes, blinking rapidly. "Abba! Ah!" "Feyfather, you absolutely cannot keep this Ma Jingxin by your side. He'll harm you. He works for Duke Kane." Adrian gently patted Luna's back and nodded to her, then turned his gaze to the kneeling Ma Jingxin, his tone suddenly shifting. "Guard Ma Jingxin performed meritorious service in protecting the Emperor. I hereby reward him with 100 taels of gold." Ma Jingxin looked up in shock. What? Why hadn't the Emperor appointed him as a personal guard? All today's arrangements had been for nothing. What about his lord's plans? This was a disaster. Where had things gone wrong? Luna smiled with delight, her eyes crinkling with joy. "Fey wonderful. Duke Kane's plan is ruined. Father won't be hurt anymore. The Great Moon Kingdom will surely prosper." Adrian left the Imperial Garden carrying Luna, casting one last cold glance at the kneeling Ma Jingxin. While he couldn't deal with Duke Kane directly yet, Quietly disposing of a guard would be simple enough. Ma Jingxian pondered his earlier performance, his body suddenly trembling. Why did he feel a chill down his spine in broad daylight? Adrian had just returned to the royal study with Luna when Nina arrived. Nina bowed respectfully. Your Majesty, Lady Celeste has sent me to fetch the little princess back to Crystal Palace. It is time for the princess's medicinal meal. Adrian frowned slightly. Though he wanted Luna to stay with him longer, her health took priority. Seeing Nina, Luna's eyes immediately brightened. Fei hooray, Mother is calling for me. I miss Mother so much. Adrian handed Luna to Nina while instructing Eunuch Chen. Escort the princess back to the palace personally. Eunuch Chen nodded, marveling internally at how truly the emperor treasured the fifth princess, like the apple of his eye. In all his years serving the emperor, he'd never seen such devotion to a child. As Nina led Luna and Eunuch Chen followed, they passed through the imperial garden toward Crystal Palace. Suddenly, Luna stopped in her tracks. What was that sound? Someone was playing a flute, and it sounded quite lovely. Though Luna didn't understand music, she could distinguish beautiful from unpleasant sounds. She turned to Nina and pointed toward where the flute music was coming from. Nina asked tentatively, "Would the princess like to see who is playing the flute?" Luna nodded enthusiastically. Fanina truly deserves to be Mother's favorite maid. She is so perceptive. Anyone who can play such beautiful music must be very handsome. I can't miss seeing any attractive people in the palace. Nina led Luna to the source of the music. By Lake Clarity in the imperial garden stood a young man, tall and elegant like an immortal, with a refined and scholarly profile. His slender fingers held a jade flute as he played, with complete concentration. Luna was mesmerized. Famey goodness. The last time I saw someone this handsome was. The last time. Not only is he incredibly handsome, but he plays so beautifully. Hearing movement nearby, the young man paused his playing and turned to find the adorable little girl staring at him unblinkingly. After their eyes met, the little girl waved at him. Fei, hello. Handsome. The third prince's eyebrows rose slightly, though her mouth wasn't moving. Why could he hear her? How very strange. Eunuch Chen quickly bowed in explanation. Greetings to the third prince. This is the fifth princess, though she currently cannot speak due to throat problems. Fifth princess, this is the third prince, who has been traveling in Shu and only returned to the capital yesterday evening. Luna nodded vigorously, her eyes sparkling even brighter. Abba, Feiso, you are my third brother. Hello, third brother. The third prince's lips curved slightly. This little sister he'd never met was quite endearing. So what he'd heard were the fifth princess's thoughts. Glancing around at the others' calm expressions, it seemed only he could hear them. How intriguing. Third brother's flute playing is amazing. I've never heard such beautiful music. The third prince felt pleased by the praise. About to smile when he heard. Fayed is just a pity about what happens in 2 years. The third prince's ears perked up. What about 2 years from now? What would happen to him? But after listening for a while, no continuation came. He looked up to see Luna. He quickly called out, "Fifth sister, wait." Walking closer, he drew a packet of pastries from his sleeve and offered it to Luna. "Fifth sister, please accept these cloud pastries." His gaze was gentle as he tried to build rapport with her. These pastries had originally been promised to his fourth brother, but his desperate need to know about the future took priority. Sorry, fourth brother. Luna's eyes lit up at the sight of the treats. Abba, Fei, thank you. Third brother. You are not only handsome but kind-hearted. It is just a pity about what happens in 2 years. The third prince's heart raced with anxiety as he stared at the little girl. Fortunately, this time she continued. Such a wonderful third brother, but father will have his head cut off. The third prince. What? He would be executed in 2 years. Lady Sophia and Duke Kane will rebel. Third brother isn't involved at all, but he'll be implicated anyway. The third prince. What? His mother and grandfather would actually rebel. The revelation hit him like a thunderbolt. He'd always known his mother harbored ambitions for him to claim the throne, but outright rebellion, that was going too far. Luna, having received treats, became more talkative in her thoughts. Lady Sophia probably knows third brother would never agree to rebellion. So she never planned to tell him. She intended to put him on the throne after their success. But third brother has absolutely no interest in politics. He truly lacks ambition. He is naturally gifted at painting and music, and genuinely loves these arts. His paintings and compositions are all destined to become masterpieces. He has extraordinary talent. He is a born artist, but almost no one acknowledges this. The third prince felt bitterness well up inside him. He never expected that the person who understood him best would be a 3-year-old child. The ministers considered him an inadequate prince. His mother scolded him for being worthless. None of them would believe that he truly loved these pursuits. Luna's melancholy was brief, quickly replaced by optimism. After all, the current plot had already diverged from the original story. Father had discovered Duke Kane's treasonous intentions, so the rebellion 2 years hence could certainly be prevented, and third brother would surely be safe. Luna bit into a cloud pastry with obvious satisfaction. Delicious. Watching Luna's contented expression, the third prince's refined face showed a gentle smile. Thank you, fifth sister. Knowing that someone in this world could understand him was enough. Nina and eunuch Chen watched in bewilderment. Why was the third prince thanking the fifth princess? For eating his pastries? The fifth princess hadn't done anything. Luna was equally puzzled by the thanks. Perhaps all artists were peculiar this way. But she still looked up and smiled at the third prince. Well then. Thank you for the pastries. Third brother, goodbye. She took Nina's hand and watching Luna's unsteady gait, the third prince smiled again. Just then, his attendant Qin Yun's voice reached his ears. Your Highness, Lady Sophia knows you've returned to the palace and requests your presence at Tranquil Pavilion. The third prince's smile immediately vanished, his voice turning cold. Understood. He soon arrived at Tranquil Pavilion with Qin Yun, looking at the elegant building before him, his brow furrowed. As a child, he used to run here excitedly to play new melodies for his mother, but what awaited him was usually harsh scolding. He thought it was because his playing wasn't good enough. Until that day when his mother used a sword to destroy his jade flute in front of him. The third prince took a deep breath and pushed open the heavy wooden doors. Crack! A bamboo scroll flew at his face, striking his forehead hard. A shrill scream followed. You unfilial son! How dare you return? Seeing the third prince's nonchalant expression, Sophia's fury blazed hotter. I told you to visit the Academy Masters, but instead you went gallivanting in Shu for 3 months. Do you even consider me your mother anymore? The third prince's forehead bore a bright red mark, stark against his pale skin. His long lashes trembled as he said, Mother, you know I don't enjoy studying statecraft. Why must you force me? Sophia was livid with frustration. You must learn whether you like it or not. The third prince looked up, his gaze steady. Mother, Everyone knows the throne will go to elder brother. Father has always favored him, and among all the princes, he is the most capable and talented. Sophia cut him off harshly. You are a prince born into the royal family. You must compete, fight, and eliminate others. I've told you countless times. I forbid you from reading those idle books or collecting musical scores. The third prince tried to speak. Mother, I enjoy those things. Sophia roared. What good are your interests? Can they give you power? Can they give you the supreme position? The third prince spoke each word deliberately. Then I'd rather not have that position. Crack. Sophia slapped him hard across the face. Worthless, foolish. A bright red handprint appeared on the third prince's face. His gaze grew increasingly cold and distant. Sensing something, Sophia's tense expression suddenly softened to become tender. Tears filled her eyes as she looked at him with infinite gentleness. My dear boy, Mother only hit you because I was too angry. You must understand. This is all for your sake. Watching her expression change, the third prince, he'd grown accustomed to this pattern. She would hit him, then cry and apologize. Once or twice he might have overlooked it, but it had happened far too often. He felt numb to it now. The third prince's mouth twisted in a bitter smile. Whether it is truly for me or for the Elfay family's power and your own ambitions, you know the truth in your heart. I am a person, not a tool for your power struggles. He stepped back, distancing himself from her, then turned to leave. At the threshold, the third prince paused, remembering the childish voice in his mind. He looked back at the dazed woman in the hall. Mother, some things once done can never be undone. But right now, it is not too late for anything. The third prince left without looking back. Sophia watched his retreating figure, collapse to the floor, and laughed mockingly. Turn back. She could no longer turn back. Nor did she want to. Power was what she truly desired, no matter the cost. On the capital's main thoroughfare, an elegantly decorated, Your Highness, please apply this medicine, Chinyon said with concern, offering a small porcelain bottle. Lady Sophia was too cruel. How could she strike so hard? The third prince accepted the familiar bottle with a wry smile. Whenever his mother lost her temper, she would hit him. He'd lost count of how many bottles of this healing balm he'd used. He expertly opened the bottle and applied the salve to his wounds. Soon, the angry red marks faded considerably. When the carriage stopped, a servant announced, Your Highness, we've arrived at the residence. As the third prince stepped down, a figure in blue suddenly appeared before him. Looking up, he saw a lovely young woman staring at him intently. Who was she? Watching the handsome third prince, Stella's heart pounded wildly. He was so attractive, she adored him. Though Felix was also handsome, his poisoning and illness made him appear weak and sickly. Not to her taste at all. She much preferred the third prince's looks. In the original story, the third prince would return from Shu today, so she deliberately snuck out from the first prince's residence to meet him and make an unforgettable impression. Stella's lashes fluttered as a blush colored her fair cheeks. She drew a folded paper from her sleeve and offered it to him. Her voice was deliberately softened. I heard Your Highness enjoys music. This is a melody I composed myself. I hope Your Highness might appreciate it. Hearing the word music, the third prince showed some interest. Stella's lips curved smugly. She'd studied instruments for several years before transmigrating, and could easily transcribe popular song melodies. Such modern compositions would be completely foreign to an ancient person like the third prince. He was sure to be curious about her. She knew no man could escape her charms. After studying the paper briefly, the third prince refolded it and returned it to the bewildered young woman. His voice was calm and unhurried. "Thank you for your kind intention, miss." With that, he turned and entered his residence without a backward glance. Stella stood frozen in place. How could his reaction be so cold? Why hadn't he asked her name, or invited her in for tea and conversation? Wasn't he curious about the melody? What had gone wrong? Stella puzzled over it frantically but couldn't understand. Stamping her feet in frustration, Having witnessed everything. Qin Yun couldn't help asking, "Your Highness, why didn't you accept the musical score? You've always loved music most of all." The third prince's brow furrowed in confusion. That paper was covered with strange horizontal and vertical lines and curves, quite bizarre to look at. Qin Yun, so that is why he simply couldn't read it. "By the way, where are the shoe brocades we brought back?" the third prince asked. Qin Yun, "They're all in storage. Are you planning to send them to Lady Sophia now?" Shoe brocade is unique to that region, and makes the most beautiful garments. The third prince shook his head. "No. Send them all to Crystal Palace for the fifth princess." Qin Yun was utterly confused. The prince had only met the fifth princess for the first time today, and she hadn't even spoken a word. Why was he being so generous to her? But he dared not question further, and hurried to carry out the order. The third prince lowered his gaze, his lashes hiding complex emotions. He should have known long ago he could never satisfy his mother. Since that was the case, there was no point in forcing it. Better to be kind to someone who truly understood him. At Crystal Palace, Celeste stared at the exquisite shoe brocades covering the table, her elegant brow furrowing. Why would the third prince send so many precious brocades? Shoe brocade was rare and valuable, literally worth its weight in gold. Though the palace contained countless treasures, such a quantity of shoe brocade was still remarkable. Nina shook her head. "This servant doesn't know either." Then, as if remembering something, she added, "When collecting the princess today, we encountered the third prince in the imperial garden. He gave the fifth princess cloud pastries and thanked her." Celeste grew even more puzzled. The third prince had given Luna pastries. So why was he thanking her? She couldn't make sense of any of this. First Felix, then her younger brother, now the third prince. Why was everyone sending gifts to Luna? What had Luna been doing outside? But Luna couldn't even speak now. What could she possibly accomplish? Celeste looked over at Luna, who was sipping milk tea with half-closed eyes, looking completely blissful, as if intoxicated by the drink. Celeste sighed. This hardly looked like someone capable of grand gestures. Perhaps she was overthinking things. Maybe the princes simply found Luna endearing. Celeste selected 4 pieces of brocade and handed them to Nina. "Have the Imperial Weaving Bureau make 4 new outfits for Luna from these." Nina nodded, and left with the fabrics. Celeste had barely settled into her chair when a shrill announcement came from outside. "His Majesty approaches." Adrian strode into the hall. Celeste curtsied gracefully. "Your servant greets your Majesty." Adrian waved dismissively. "No need for ceremony." His gaze fell on the thoroughly satisfied Luna. Adrian frowned. "Has Luna been drinking wine?" Celeste shook her head. "No. She simply had too much milk." Adrian, his daughter, certainly had a unique style. I came to personally inform you that Grand Tutor Feng's granddaughter, Feng Asi, will enter the palace tomorrow. I am told she is skilled in medicine and hope she can examine Luna's throat. Adrian found it somewhat hard to believe himself. After all, Feng Aichi was just a sheltered young lady. How could she be a physician? But after recent events, he had complete faith in Luna's words. Whatever she said, he would believe, especially regarding such a small matter. Celeste found it odd too, but anything for Luna's benefit was fine with her. Could this Feng Aichi be the divine female physician Luna had mentioned before, whose name she'd forgotten? Luna had drunk so much milk tea that she felt completely full and drowsily dozed off on the couch. Hearing the steady breathing in the hall, both Adrian and Celeste turned to look at their peacefully sleeping daughter, sharing helpless smiles. After dining in Celeste's palace, Adrian returned to the royal study to continue his duties. The next day, Luna woke naturally. Father was quite considerate. Knowing I had a medical appointment today, he didn't bring me to the royal study, though I do miss those pastries from the royal study. Hearing the familiar voice, Celeste knew her Luna was awake. After Celeste helped Luna get ready, and they finished breakfast, Luna snuggled in her mother's arms waiting for Feng Aichi's arrival. Luna yawned lazily, playing with the tassels on Celeste's robe. When will Feng Aichi come? All this waiting is making me sleepy. Celeste thought. Didn't you just wake up? Just then, Nina's voice came from outside. My lady, Miss Feng has arrived. As soon as she finished speaking, a composed young woman glided into the hall. She wore an elegant but unpretentious pale yellow dress, her hair in a simple cloud knot, adorned only with white jade earrings that swayed gently with her movements. Her willow leaf eyebrows framed pure, water-clear eyes that held a hint of cool detachment. Luna sat up straight immediately, staring at her without blinking. I am so revived. I could unplug my life support. What medicine could possibly be more miraculous than this beautiful lady's healing sister is so beautiful. I love her. Hearing this, Celeste couldn't help but smile. Luna had such a clever tongue. Feng Aichi curtsied gracefully. This humble woman greets Lady Celeste and the fifth princess. Celeste gestured kindly. No need for such formality, please. Sit beside me. Unable to refuse politely, Feng Aichi took the seat beside Celeste. Seeing the beauty so close, Luna couldn't contain her excitement. Abba. Beautiful sister. Hello. Drawn by the sound, Feng Asi's gaze fell on Luna's adorable little face, and her usually cool expression softened. The little princess is truly lovely. Luna beamed, her dimples showing. The pretty sister complimented me. Feng Aichi looked at Celeste questioningly. May I ask why your ladyship summoned me to the palace? Celeste spoke gently. I am told you are skilled in medicine and hoped you might examine the princess. Feng Aichi's eyebrows rose slightly in surprise. How had word of her medical knowledge reached the palace? She'd only treated a few female friends in private chambers. This news shouldn't have spread. Though puzzled, Feng Aichi didn't deny it outright. Since Lady Celeste had specifically requested her presence, she must be certain of her abilities. Moreover, as a physician should be compassionate, she couldn't bear to ignore a sick child. Feng Aichi bowed. This humble woman obeys. She then extended her hand to take Luna's pulse. Watching Feng Aichi's serene face, Celeste felt somewhat nervous. How is the princess? Why can't she speak now?